Put your pajamas on, grab a snack, cuddle with a stuffed animal or your favorite human being, and get comfy under those covers. It's story time. The perfect human being. The first created Orisha, a symbol of peace and purity. He controls the mind and all thoughts, the head, the bones, and the body, and all white substances are his. He is the father of the Orishas and mankind. He has dozens of aspects, and in each aspect he has a different name. In some of these aspects, he adopts a female form. His color is white and his number is 8. He's known as the king of the white cloth. Tonight, it's all about OG Orisha Obatalá. Obatalá, the father of all Orishas. Or should I say the mortal being of all Orishas? Remember from our intro episode in the creation of the world story, in which essentially Obatalá was Oludumare's creation, his new mortal man meant to rule Earth after the destruction of the Earth by both Nzalam and the immortal Omo Oba. Just a reminder, by the way, because there are so many characters in this book, Nzalam is the lightning bolt and Omo Oba is the first created human that essentially destroyed the Earth because of his arrogance. Bring out the flashcards. So, sort of picture Obatalá as like the new kid on the block. Anyway, the unique aspect of the Orisha Obatalá is that this Orisha is gender fluid, meaning that they have both male and female aspects. Have any of you heard of a guy named Sigmund Freud? The founding father of psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis is essentially a set of theories that are used to study the unconscious mind, human behavior, answering the questions, why do we behave in the way that we do? Why do we think the thoughts that we think? It also formed methods in which mental illnesses were treated. Anyway, our focus is on one of his followers, actually. A fellow named Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst. He's one of the first in his field to explain the religious nature behind human psychology. Raise your hand if you ever took one of those personality quizzes. Well, you can thank Carl Jung. He created the original personality archetypes. You know, extroverts versus introvert, etc. However, he is also known for his work on what is referred to as the theory of collective unconscious. In this theory, he proposes that both men and women share both masculine and feminine qualities, animus and anima. Jung described animus as the unconscious masculine side of women and anima as the unconscious feminine side of men. You see the connection? Just as Obatalá shares characteristics from both male and female genders, so do humans. Also, out of respect, I do want to acknowledge that I have been referring to Obatalá as he, not to confuse anyone. I simply do this for simplicity and to keep the naming consistent. The book does this as well, but I will be actually really curious if there are specific situations or rituals in which a certain gender is preferred or used more often. Or even if the choice is up to the worshiper. By the way, if any of you know, please let me know. Type in them comments, share your knowledge, please. And honestly, that goes for anything that we discuss. I definitely want to hear your feedback and your opinions. I know there are so many different interpretations and stories when it comes to the Orishas and the tales of the Orishas. So I definitely want you all to share what you have, because I know that it can differ depending on where you're from, depending on where you get your research. So all of these stories come together and we're just learning as a group. So please share what you all have learned in your experiences. All right, let's get back to it. So Obatalá actually has a wife named Oduduwa, but we'll discuss her next time. Obatalá as an Orisha is associated with whiteness, the color white. The Orisha accepts offerings such as white clothing, white coconuts, white pumpkins, silver, and ivory. Pretty much anything white. Why gotta be white? Also, the white dove is associated with Obatalá. Obatalá represents purity and the spark of consciousness in humanity. After all, he is the ruler of the earth. He's also probably one of the most forgiving Orishas, but don't take my word on that. You guys will soon discover why as we continue on this journey. When looking at Santeria, the syncretist religion of Catholicism and Yoruba belief, Obatalá is paired with two saints. La Virgen de las Mercedes, also known as Virgin Mary, and Jesus of Nazareth, Jesus. You can even see the acknowledgement of the different genders that basically make up Obatalá through the different saints, because there are two saints that represent both male and female. Jesus male, Virgin Mary female. So I just thought that was pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to give you all a crash course on the creation of the world and of humanity. Go. In the beginning, the earth was all water. Oludumare, the creator of all, the God of all, instructed Obatalá to find some materials to create the earth. These materials included a gold chain, a palm nut, a white hen, a black cat, and a snail shell full of sand. That's it. That's all he had. So Oludumare instructed Obatalá to forge a gold chain. However, Obatalá had no idea what he needed this chain for. Regardless, being the obedient Orisha he is, Obatalá gathered all of the necessary materials. He had also borrowed plenty of gold from the other Orishas, in which he instructed a goldsmith to actually produce the gold chain for him. But Obatalá didn't quite understand, how am I going to use this gold chain? It doesn't even touch the surface of the water. He thought, how could it be possible to make it all the way to Earth with this little gold chain? And remember, the Orishas resided in the sky, so you can imagine just how long this chain needed to be. But Obatalá trusted Oludumare. He began his descent to Earth knowing the chain wasn't long enough. As Obatalá neared the end of the chain, he looked down into the dark, watery abyss. What is he gonna do now? Obatalá thought and thought and thought. Until, bingo, he had remembered that he brought all the materials with him that he needed for this journey. Suddenly, a voice from the water whispered to him, "Pour the sand into the water." Obatalá reached into his pockets and poured the sand all into the water. He then dropped the hen, and the hen began to spread the sand in all directions. Every place that the sand touched became new land. This new land was granted the name, the Holy City of Ife. Creation of mankind. Obatalá was happy in Ife with Oduduwa and other Orishas as his companions. And by the way, he still had that black cat. And the black cat was actually instructed by Oludumare to Obatalá because Oludumare knew that Obatalá needed a companion, so basically he had a little pet. Anyway, Obatalá still felt lonely, even with his companions. Being of a gregarious nature, he missed the bustle of people around him. So he decided to create new life. He looked around for suitable building material, hoping to find some nice shiny stones, like the ones Olofi had used when he created the Orishas. But there were no stones in the new land, only hard clay. Undaunted, Obatalá dug out some of the clay and began to shape human figures. As he finished each one, he laid it out on the ground to dry in the sun. After working for some time, Obatalá became very thirsty and decided to drink some palm wine to quench his thirst. The sweet, sticky liquid made him even thirstier, so he drank some more. Very soon, his hands became clumsy through the effect of the liquid, and the figures which he then produced were malformed and twisted. Some had crooked backs, others had twisted legs and arms, and some had missing limbs. Obatalá was too drunk to notice his mistakes and set these misshapen figures out to dry next to the well-formed ones. Wow. Perfect example of why we shouldn't drink. He then called out to Olofi to put the breath of life into the clay figures. Olofi, who had not seen the result of Obatalá's handiwork and who trusted him implicitly, carried out his request and gave life to the figures. They immediately became living beings full of human feelings and emotions. When Obatalá's intoxication wore off and he saw what he had done, he was very unhappy and swore that from that moment onwards that he would never touch liquor again. He also became the protector of the deformed or those who are abnormal in some way. The legend is also the basis of the Yoruba belief that Obatalá shapes the newborn in their mother's wombs. And that's all for tonight, folks. Don't forget to check out Obatalá's featured dance movement on the Ritmos Negros Instagram and Facebook pages, by the way. Take care, have a good night, and please join me on this journey next time as we unveil the secrets of the most wise of them all, the highest priest of the Orishas, Orisha Obatalá. Ciao, ciao for now.